Hi, and welcome to Two CPAs and the Mic, the podcast where we talk tax, finance, and all things related to business. Whether you're a business owner, working professional, or someone who wants to start a career in accounting, this is the podcast for you. Hosted by CCK Strategies partners Jeff Frable and Sarah Mays, we dive into relevant business and tax matters with working professionals to make these topics less intimidating, relatable, and dare we say fun? Let's get down to business.
Welcome to this week's episode of Two CPAs and the Mic. We are so glad you're joining us. We are here to cover relevant business and tax topics, but do it in a way where we're applying straight talk, practical information, and not all the jargon and stuffiness that's normally associated with our profession. My name is Jeff Frable. I'm a partner with CCK Strategies in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my co-host, Sarah Mays. What's up, Mays?
What's up, Frable?
So we're talking about cybersecurity today, and I am geeked. I get very,
Jazz.
I hate using the word, I hate when people use the word, I'm so excited. So I'm not excited, I'm just geeked. I'm jazzy hands for today. We're talking about cybersecurity. If you are an entrepreneurial business owner, you definitely want to stay with us because we have got an expert in this field with lots of different updates in the industry and things you need to be worrying about as a small business owner. If you are in the profession, you want to stay with us too, because we're going to be talking about things that I'm sure that you encounter in your office space. But before we get started, KP's with us also. KP, good morning.
Hi. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. Sarah was sick yesterday. How are you feeling?
I've been sick Saturday.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute, but I'm feeling better.
So
I'm eating my saltines.
Taking one for the team today?
Yep.
So quick update.
Yes.
You took your exam.
I did.
Okay.
Remember when I said in our meeting that I'm fully prepared not to or have to take it again?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take it
Well,
again.
you know what? Who cares?
Right?
I
Hey,
love
you know
the
what?
vulnerability and openness there. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to say right now, I haven't taken a standardized test in almost 10 years.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. And it was eye-opening and it's fine.
Well, good
It's
for
fine.
you. I know you're going to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not worried about it. And the cool part is so, for those listening, I've taken the certified valuation exam and it's not as brutal as the CPA exam. And it gave me what areas I needed to concentrate on. So
Excellent.
I love that.
Excellent.
It'll be easy to
And
take again.
let's revisit the fact that we were looking for someone internally to really kind of carry that torch again. You stepped up to the microphone, and you got out there. So we're going to be all team Sarah,
Yes.
and we are going to get there. So KP, anything going on in your world?
You know, I am here. It's midsummer and I am ready for something different to happen.
Oh, it's sticky.
hot.
It
It's
is
hot.
sticky in
I had
Oklahoma.
I had a teammate remind me, you guys, why they call these days the dog days of summer.
Yep.
And it's like, wow, perfectly said.
So I just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
We spent a week in Virginia Beach with the family.
Oh, that's nice.
Interesting thing there, we were under a air quality
Yes.
alert for the
Old
last few
Canada.
days because of old Canada and their wildfires. And I have two son-in-laws that were just so geeked out about it. They were telling me about the quality and the colors and all this kind of stuff. You know, Virginia Beach is right next to this. What's it called? An Air Force.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. What's the word? But what are
Military?
base?
Yes.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Base. So
We got there.
you've got these fighter planes
Norfolk,
flying,
Virginia.
flying over you all day long. The
nice.
smog was so bad you couldn't see the fighters. You could just hear it.
them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it was a good time, but hey, we're back. We're recording today. We're excited about this. And like I said, we're excited. We're geeked about this. Like I said, we have an incredible guest today. Sarah, why don't you kind of lead into our introduction this morning?
Absolutely. We have Ron Searle with us today. He is with Forte Technologies, which is, okay, I'm going to stop my introduction right here. There's going to be a lot of acronyms. And old Ron is going to tell us all about what these acronyms are. So bear with me, folks. You guys will know what all of these mean shortly when I ask him. So it is a national MSSP, which I know this one is a managed security service provider. And he runs the MSSP and the VCISO practice at Forte Technologies. Prior to being with Forte, he founded and ran and was the president and CFO or CEO, of PCS International for 40 plus years. So dude knows his stuff in all cybersecurity. And he's, dude, he does. Yes. And here's the cool part. Here's a cool part about Ron. I met Ron last year. He with Forte, but was PCS last year. They actually do our cybersecurity and IT technology for CCK. And we do tabletop events, which helps us give scenarios on what could happen. We just want to be prepared for potential IT attacks, cyber attacks. And anyway, when we had lunch that day, when you were here, I found out some pretty cool stuff about you. Two things. That you run or not, you do triathlons, which is crazy awesome. And then you also fly airplanes, which I think is so pretty cool. So welcome, Ron, to Two CPAs and the Mic.
Why, thank you very much. Yes, not only have I done triathlons, but I have done every flavor of them. And kind of goes to the security theme that we'll be talking about, which is some of this stuff you just can't walk out the door and go do.
Right. So that's exactly
some time. It took me 7 years to do my first full Ironman triathlon. And it was just a lot of day-to-day doing the work, putting the time in. I loved it. Loved every freaking minute of it. I mean, I competed for 15 years in triathlon, and gotta say it's the coolest community, but there's a lot of work. And if you don't love it, gets to be work, not fun. But
right.
Some days it was both. Yeah. So I did that. And then, learning to fly was great. It was around Y2K. So it gave me something to do to turn my brain off of the computer stuff. And,
right. Yes.
And back in the day, this was 99 and 2000, there were no cell phones that worked up in the air. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, right.
Was that Windows XP? That around the same time, you guys?
No, that was earlier. It was.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, we're talking way back machine.
Yeah. Fun fact, Robert and I got married on Y2K.
So I think when we talk about acronyms, we might need to talk to some of our younger listeners and let them know that when it went from 1999 to year 2000, there was this wild, I would almost call it a pandemic, but it was like a mental fear that all the computers were going to shut down when it turned to 2000, and it didn't.
It didn't.
So that's for all our younger listeners out there.
Yes.
Ron, would you tell us just a little bit about PCS and how you started that company and what it did before the recent merger?
You betcha. So with PCS International, I started it. Fun story. I was 15 years old, working at a computer store, selling floppy disks.
Floppy disks for our younger listeners.
That's before
16
USB.
candles.
Love it.
So, these archaic things you'd stick in the computer and make them work because they didn't even have hard drives at the time. So I was selling floppy disks and whatever. And eventually I started selling computers because I had been into computers, my long 15-year life. So I had been talking to people, and I would I'd sell them a computer, and then they'd come to me and say, well, now what do I do with it? And, being the dumb 15-year-old, be like, oh,
I don't know, you play Atari on it.
Oregon Trail.
Okay, but I got smart one day, and I'm like, I'll show you what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I rode my bike to these houses, often housewives or other people that just bought this computer, and I'd sit down with them for an hour, and I would work, and show them how to make a spreadsheet. And we're talking WordPerfect and Symphony and Lotus 1-2-3, the OG of the computer world.
Yes.
And it was fun. And I realized that making $25 an hour doing that was way more cool than $3.35 an hour at the computer store. I'm like,
right? And $25 an hour back then.
That's a big time.
Big time. Yes.
That was great. And so what did that turn into? That turned into, as I got my degree, I was teaching, I was programming, I was consulting, and we became a managed service provider. That term didn't exist back then, but what it was is we'd be the guys taking care of all of the computer stuff. I still have the moniker, the computer guy. That is a service mark in the state of Illinois. And it is really, that was it. It was like, I'd call it, was Ron, the computer guy, right? And so we would do everything that people needed. And we've evolved over the years, right? Because things have changed. Back then, there was no internet, not to the public. That wasn't until 91. And desktop publishing and iPhone, Google, none of these things existed. And so what we've done is we've ridden the wave over the years and figured out what companies need for their business. And that's always been our driving goal, is to figure out, well, what do they need to be successful? Because if we can do that, then they'll keep us around forever. It's awesome. It's a win-win for everybody. And that evolved into cyber. So 10 years ago, I founded a second company, Business Cybersecurity Solutions, which was purely on the cyber side. Because prior to that, if you had antivirus, that's pretty much good enough. That's about all the small business would do. And that's changed a lot. So 10 years ago is when I'm like, you know what? I think small business really needs to take this seriously. And that's where I kind of founded that side. And yeah, we're all part of Forte now. And what I get to do is lead the effort to help espouse, cybersecurity in every level of business, little guys, medium guys. We don't do big companies, but we help on projects. So that's the origin story.
It's awesome, Ron. Before Sarah gets in with the real official questions here, I do have one more personal question, just so I can frame everything. What year were you born, Ron?
71.
71. Okay. I was born in 69. So I was trying to sync up our ages from a perspective. Yeah.
Gen X.
They are Gen X all the way, baby. So I just wanted to confirm that before we went any further. So, all right.
Well, but let's should have given it away.
But let's put in a perspective here. I mean, PCS has been around for 40 years. Ron, you're a little over 50. I mean, you started that at 15 years old.
Yep.
Good point.
Literally.
Yeah.
That was literally, October 1986.
That is so cool.
Yeah, there was no good music going on at that time. So, I mean,
I disagree on that.
Yes, yeah.
All the good music.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the real stuff.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
All right.
This is good stuff.
I know, but
really
our business owners are going to get to the meat.
Yes.
We love the banter, but get to the meat.
All right. So just to get started, you're helping companies with their IT and with their cybersecurity. But I want to know what keeps you up at night as an IT leader. So what is it that really just, you're like, I just can't sleep because I'm thinking of X, Y, and Z.
Right. Well, really comes down to the people, making sure the people are doing the things they need to do. And that I've done a good job communicating to the people what they need to do. Like, you guys do tabletop exercises, which is amazing. You've done several of them over the years, and you have a fully fleshed out disaster recovery plan. A lot of companies don't even know what disaster recovery plan means. That means they're going to call their IT guy. That's it. And that's not a plan.
No, I have learned that is not a plan.
If you wire money to the Nigerian prince, that's not an IT problem. That's a people
What's
problem.
What's he talking about?
Never
heard of that.
Jeff, you know what you did
this morning. He was a new client. I thought it was a new client for us.
So that's what keeps you up at night, right? That's what keeps you up at night, right? Yes.
So that's the biggest thing, is communicating what they need to do, because people are busy doing their job. They're busy doing their things, and they're good at certain things. You guys do the accounting and strategy and tax and all of that, and that's what you want to focus on. It's where your brain and tunnel vision is all focused on. But you can't forget the rest of it.
Yeah.
And getting people to pay attention is the biggest challenge.
Okay, so with them having people pay attention, business owners pay attention, what's one of the biggest cybersecurity threats that are facing businesses today, just globally?
There's a couple. The first one is business email compromise. This is something that used to be very rare, and now it's very common. I was going back and telling my team about some statistics we gathered. So it used to be like 10 years ago, we would have maybe 2 breaches per year that we had to deal with: ransomware, email compromise, whatever. It was like 2 a year. we're up to 4 a week at this point. And when we look by frequency, email breach, we call it business email compromise. That one is the number one right now because people have bad passwords. They don't turn on MFA. And it's really avoidable. It's really, really avoidable. And so that's the biggest one by frequency. But the credential theft is close behind because it may not be your email that the bad guys are getting into, but maybe it's your bank account, your Amazon account, your whatever. Again, because of bad credentials. Hear a theme there? I mean, it's people using the same freaking password for everything. And bad guys get the password one place and then they use it everywhere else to try to figure it out and how to get in.
Yeah.
Ransomware is the biggest impact. Like the business email compromise happens a lot. We don't see a lot of ransomware. We see mostly as a new customer. When somebody's already been wiped out.
Yeah.
And they've changed. The bad guys have really changed and adapted to the new world. And that is a big problem because it's not just as easy as, I'll just restore from backup.
Just for clarity, is ransomware, remind me, because I know we have to take these quizzes, but is it when somebody hijacks and steals information for a ransom? Is that basically what it is? Okay.
There's 2 ways. The old way used to be they would just encrypt everything on your computer and they would say, send me a bunch of money. Otherwise, you don't have your data. But they've gotten smarter and they now copy all your data. Then they encrypt it. And the problem is like with most professional industries, you have very, very sensitive customer data and they know it. They are like, you pay me this money or I'm going to release 10% on the public on the internet. And then you try to play chicken with them and you don't, they'll like post it all. And this has been a problem. There was a plastic surgery clinic of the Stars in Florida who had before and after pictures of plastic surgery of Stars, and they didn't pay the ransom and it all got made public and that company was out of business within a month.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So that is nuts.
It's a new tactic. They've also gone, this was a more recent one, to medical practices where they stole the data and they threatened, same thing. But when they didn't pay, the bad guys reported the clinic with a HIPAA violation. So they narked on them.
Wow.
As a way to get leverage.
Wow.
It was such a novel technique. It's horrible, but it just tells you how serious the stakes are. You just need to avoid this altogether. But ransomware, anytime we have a ransomware incident that we're involved in, it's always heartbreaking to me because I know that it's going to be an ugly fight to get things back to normal. So anyway, those are the biggies.
It's not as simple as don't click on any link that you don't know. I mean, to me, that's pretty simple instruction. You follow it, you're going to be safe. But Ron, what you're describing is something much more intentional and proactive on the user end. Yeah.
And so real, like realistic.
For sure.
Yeah.
Which goes to the question, are most of these breaches, are they highly sophisticated or are they preventable generally?
Most of these things are preventable. It really, really is kind of one of those things where if you had done some of the basics or you knew what those basics were, I'm going to go back to that, educating people, then you could prevent it. Because, for example, if there's a door and you're supposed to lock the door, you lock the door. But if nobody ever told you there was even a door, how are you going to do anything about it? Right? You're not.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of where we fit, is that the attack vectors keep changing, but the humans aren't able to keep up in a lot of cases, a lot of businesses. If you're not intentional about these things, then, it's just not going to happen. And I like to tell my clients, if you're not making an improvement in your cyber stance every year, you are falling behind by a year. Because the bad guys, they're launched forward. There's a lot of money in this stuff. So they are moving fast. Even nation states have gotten involved. And this is not on the preventable side, but there was some pretty big breaches last year due to nation states, North Korea, Russia, some other countries, who they just have made an industry of this.
Wow.
And, It's a whole industry. Yeah, there's ransomware as a service now. So little baby bad guys can go rent this stuff and
okay. Like we'll teach you how to do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to give you the tools. They're going to teach you what to do. And then they get a percentage of the take.
So I'm realizing that the excitement I had about this recording was legit. I mean, here's what I love about Ron is he is a real person in an industry where there's not a lot of layman's speech. And he's just spitting it out real world here.
Yeah.
And Ron, I'm loving this. Thank you. Especially for what we're trying to do as a podcast is to take all that jargon and just kind of put it aside and go, here's the issue and here's what's going on. So we love your real world approach to what you do.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I mean, I love what I do. And one of the things that has been critical my whole career is that I don't really care if you buy Pepsi versus Coke, just buy a freaking soda.
Yes.
Buy a freaking soda.
They're pretty good. Like when we turn that over to cybersecurity, a lot of people get hung up. A lot of end customers, business owners, they get like swayed by some vendor selling something. And I'm sure this theme will come up later, but you can't buy your way out of some of these things. You have to do the things. You can't just say, I'm going to buy antivirus and I'm good. That was 25 years ago. It is not today.
I mean, I think most of it is, because you mentioned it earlier, it's the humans and it's education is really what it boils down to. You can buy the stuff all day long to help keep you secure, but you gotta be the one to run it right.
That's right.
So Ron, when we talk about that and how does that translate with what you do? How do you translate that to a company? There's training, but there's culture, there's accountability, there's trust, there's control, there's all this stuff that's wrapped up into one. So when it comes to this, instead of just kind of scaring people, right. So how do you wrap all that up in like a 5-minute discussion on a podcast of what should our business owners be doing?
Yeah, take
related
more
to the
minutes.
human issue. Yeah,
right. It actually is amazingly simple, but not something that everybody can do themselves. So, simple part. There are frameworks. There are cybersecurity frameworks that kind of lay out what you should do. These are not-for-profit agencies that have developed this through peer review, and they're free. Like you could go and download the NIST CSF Cybersecurity Framework 2.0. You can go download that and you can go start doing it yourself. But that's the thing. Most people look at it and they're just like, this is a lot. And yeah, it is a lot, but it's not necessarily a lot of hard. It's just a lot. And so what we like to do, especially when we're doing a VCSO engagement, that's virtual Chief Information Security Officer to translate the geek.
Thank you.
Translate the geek.
Thank you.
What that is, and this is the favorite part of my job, is learning a company, learning what they do, and then prioritizing the gaps that they have. Like we know the frameworks and we're just going to talk to them, learn about their stuff, who they have as an MSP. They got maybe a guy in-house or 2 or 3 or whatever. We learn about the environment and then we apply our expertise and experience and say, all right, these are the top 5 things we're going to deal with right now. When we get done with those, we move to the next 5. We become a tour guide through the process. And we usually use a framework to pin that to. So the customer knows like, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you're a tax prep, there's IRS publications that dictate what you need to have in place. If you are a medical office, it's HIPAA. If you take credit cards, PCI, there's all of these frameworks. So what we do is we help tour guide you through it to make it so that it's digestible and that you do it. We become an accountability partner.
Oh, there's that A word, accountability.
Yeah.
So pay the money and do it.
And do the work.
Not the ransom money.
Not the ransom, please. No. But yeah, by having somebody be your tour guide over a long period of time, allows you to develop a roadmap. You know, a lot of companies will say, I don't have money for cybersecurity. Well, first of all, you don't not have money. So, I mean, you have to make room for it. But it's doing it wisely and doing it in a way that makes sense for your business. So if I'm a tax preparer, I'm going to go to the IRS pubs first and foremost, because you can get in a lot of trouble if you're not doing those. You get caught, right? Yeah. A lot of these are if you get caught. But each company is different. And if you make it easy, you make it regular, you make it part of the fabric, that's how we bury it into the culture, right? Because you can't just come in 1 week and say, all right, you guys are going to do everything different. It doesn't work, right? But if I slowly introduce a new process every month, every quarter, whatever, and that's leading towards cybersecurity, you may not even know that what we're doing is changing your stuff, your process, to be more secure. So you don't have to think about it.
This hit us last night. We've talked about this before. People think that partners know everything, right? And we just don't.
No.
And I mean, like what's going on around the office. So last night we were in this meeting at 4:30 to 5 o'clock. And at 4:45, our guest said, well, we just got kicked off the Wi-Fi. And we had this conversation about that's part of our safety protocol, that it kicks you off at a certain time. And I just remember last night going, oh, well, I'm glad we do that kind of stuff. But that's the kind of stuff you're talking about. It kind of comes in the background. And sometimes you don't even know what's going on as a teammate in the office, right?
That's right. And seamless security is the best, because the minute I introduce friction, it slows you down and it gets people resistant. I mean, just think about the iPhone. When we first got the iPhones, there was no password. That's a bad idea. Then there was a little password, little digits you could type. And that was okay. But every time I had to open it up, I had to type in the digits. And now I just look at my iPhone and it unlocks.
Yeah.
They made it seamless. So they reduced the friction. So the more we as security professionals can do that for you, the more you're going to comply, and it's going to be baked into your overall model.
Do you guys mind if I toot Ron's horn for a second?
Sure.
Toot it.
Absolutely.
As you're talking about this, like Jeff just said, it is, I heard you. I heard.
Yes.
I heard that.
I thought it was funny.
It was funny.
But,
it was funny. Yes, that was funny. The way you speak and the way you tell stories and the way you simplify it is seamless. It gives me comfort. It makes it feel very seamless. Whereas others in your industry, Jeff and I were talking about this, how it is so over intellectualized. It creates friction and it causes me stress because I don't know what you're talking about. And I feel like I should know what you're talking about because you're looking at me like I should know what you're talking about. And so the message just gets really lost. But the way you communicate and the way that you provide service to your clients, I'm sure gives them so much security and just comfort. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for the compliment. One of our guiding principles from the beginning has been to try to get customers for life. And you do that by relationships. You do that by meeting them where they are. You do them by continually evolving. And part of our internal culture has been around communication. So, I hope I'm doing a good job with that. I will geek out. I promise you.
You can geek out with the best of them.
Right. But I try to, yeah, exactly. Know your audience. When I am at a CISO conference, I'm going to be completely nerding out. But when I'm talking to regular business owners, it's more about what do you do? What's important to you? Where are you going? Yeah. How can we help you get there? Yeah. And if we can do that, client for life.
Well, and Christy, I appreciate you bringing that up because that's who we are as a firm. In our attempt, in our goal, and our desire, and our striving to be the best and most responsive CPA firm, that's part of it. When you sit across the table from a client and tax or audit or whatever or CAS work is not their forte. Oh, Forte Technologies. That's where the name comes from. It's not their forte. You can tell when someone glosses over right away.
Oh, yeah.
And so in our drive to be that way with our clients, we want to talk in normal speak. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But they can geek out.
We can get code heads.
Of course.
Code heads.
Yeah. So Ron, you were talking about, did you have a question?
I did. I wanted to, it's kind of a little off topic, but it's still with the human element problem. I just want to know, because this is a question that I have in my outline. We're talking about the human and learning and all the things, but why do these people still click phishing emails? Like, why in the heck? I mean, because
what was you thinking?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's been in the back of my mind and I'm just like,
Sarah, be careful because something sneaky is going to come into your inbox.
I know.
You're gonna click it.
First of all, they're hearing me.
Sneaky.
My phone is hearing me. Yeah. My computer's hearing me.
And they send these test ones, internally and try and trip you up. Anyway, but yeah, why do people click on these emails?
Yes, I don't understand it. Because you guys are rigorous with your know before or whatever that training is. And I'm like, duh.
No, it's because the bad guys are focusing on some primal urges for people. The day of misspelled emails, those are gone.
Yeah.
They use real logos, often linked to the real sites. So, I mean, it's like fully legit. So what do they have to do? They've got to do some primal urges like urgency. And they get somebody to think something's an emergency. There's also, the idea of service where you're like, oh, my boss is asking me for this. I got to do it right now. There's familiarity, which is another one like, oh, well, of course, I just ordered something from Amazon. I do that every day, right? And I get a fake Amazon list. And then there is fear too. That's another tactic. But these are all focused on emotions. And people turn off their brain when emotions are in play. And so that's what they leverage still. And that's what we try to teach in our simulated examples or, simulated phishing emails. And for companies that get good at the automated ones we do every month, we also will sometimes do very, very targeted ones where it'll be what is from a vendor that you deal with every day.
Wow.
And it'll be about a topic you talk about every day. The bad guys are doing this too. It's kind of emerging, but we had one customer who got a note from one of their vendors, or they thought it was one of their vendors, that they spend $100,000 on trucking every week. And somebody sent in with an invoice, a real invoice that was from my customer to the trucking company. And it was legit. It looked like they just hit reply and say, hey, I need you to change the routing info on banking for this. And the person just did it.
Oof.
$100,000 a week for 4 weeks before they caught it. So these are the types of things, is that it was like that familiarity. They're just like, oh yeah, that's Sally. She just sent me something. Okay, cool. I'll do it. Broke all protocol, right? They know separation of duties. They know there should be 2 sign-offs. You should verbally verify. They knew all those things, but the emotion, I'm just going to have to do Sally a favor.
Wow.
Took the day.
Wow.
I think I'm going to impress Ron here with my IT knowledge. And I think this is very applicable to any one of our listeners in the profession. So you talked about emotion being number 1. I would say number 2 is busyness. In other words, you're so busy that you see something and you're just not thinking. And so, we're rolling into the 9/15 season here. So shout out to all our teammates, not only internally, but externally going, watch out for those things. Cause it's always the ones that you think is like, especially from a client that you're not expecting, but you're like, oh, certainly they're going to send me something. And then it's all downhill from there. Right, Ron?
Right. It absolutely is. And as companies downsize, right size, face pressure, this busyness problem is getting worse.
Yeah.
I've been helping small businesses for a long time, and I have never seen it at these levels of the kind of pressure that people are putting on folks. And so, yeah, Jeff, that's a great shout out to the busy. You're just like, I'm turning my brain
CPAs.
Yes.
Yeah, you did it.
You're paying attention to your know before quizzes.
Bring it on. I want to send Curtis and Lee, our internal IT guys, just a message. I'm like, give me something harder than this. Listen to me.
Beware of what you ask for.
Yeah. So Ron, let's kind of get into a little bit of the economics of cybersecurity, bottom line, because I think our business owners want to hear this. What's the the financial impact on cybersecurity as it relates to profitability? And in other words, how does this impact my bottom line? And then from there, I'd kind of like you to talk a little bit about cyber insurance and the kind of how that's evolved and the benefits of that and how that works as well.
So there's a couple of parts to that. Let's just talk about the cost of cybersecurity. First of all, if you're not spending any significant amount of money on cybersecurity, you're probably underspending. And I get the same answer every time. I don't have money for that. It's too expensive. I'm like, okay, let's use a risk calculation instead. So you have the cost of an incident times the frequency or likelihood of an incident, and that's the cost. And when you look at that, an average cyber incident, an easy one, about $250,000. And quite frankly, it's not if, it's when, especially if you're small and you haven't been doing your cyber. We've been involved with several that have been multi-million-dollar costs. So that number is big. The frequency depends on your maturity, but it's there, it's real. And let's say that boils down to $50,000, making up a number. So $50,000 is your adjusted cost or possible cost. And so you're like, okay, well, how much am I spending? Oh, I'm spending $200 a year on antivirus. I mean, that is not enough. You have not appropriately risk considered your cyber spend. And I use this overly simplistic example of a diamond. If I've got $1 million diamond, will I spend $10 to protect it? Why, yes, I would. That's simple. If I have a $10 diamond, am I going to spend $1 million? No. I'll just accept that risk, and that's okay. With cyber, what's happening is the cost of the loss is going up. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I won't get too geeky, but it's just getting more expensive. And so we have to factor that into the fact that this is now a normal part of my operating budget. It has to be. And one of the things we do is we roadmap with clients from where they are now up to where they need to be, so that maybe it takes a couple of years to get there, but we get there. The other thing that people don't think about is that there's often revenue opportunities that you're missing because you're not doing those things. So we've got many customers that if they were to have, I'm just going to use manufacturing as an example. If they want to go after DOW contracts, Department of War contracts, they have to have CMMC. It's just a framework. If you don't have CMMC, you will never get any of those contracts. Don't even bid. So that's a whole market that you are missing. And within all of our listeners, you got to think about, what are your competitors doing? Look at your bigger competitors and then see where they're going. Law firms oftentimes like ISO 27001. Okay, that's fine. That's what they like. So if you want to serve law firms, they're going to want to see you have ISO 27001 because it means you're in the club. You are the cool guys.
Yes.
That's the framework. That's the framework that you're using. Got it.
Yep. You also heard of SOC 2 Type 2, very common.
We know it well.
Yes.
In your world. Exactly. Yep. That's another one. Like if your customer wants SOC 2 Type 2 and you don't have it, you have a lot of explaining to do, or you might just not get that at all. And so there's a revenue potential. So we started with expense and then we went into revenue, which is big. But the thing you got to remember is these things don't happen right away. You can't just say, hey, Ron, I want SOC 2 Type 2. Can you get me that next week? No.
Haley Leg can.
Let's talk about that, because we know, as the four of us are talking, what a SOC 2 exam is. Do you guys want to tap into it so our listening audience has a refresh?
We could
Haley?
point them back to a previous episode. I'm not sure the episode number, but it was this year, wasn't this season? With Haley Leg. That's why I mentioned our teammate who she goes into detail on what those exams are and why they're important in your business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Internal audit.
But basically it's a certification that your information is protected digitally. Is that an easy way to say it there, Ron?
Yeah. There's some basic cybersecurity protections. There's also some financial controls. And what's really nice about SOC 2 Type 2 is that it it is audited and certified by somebody else.
Right.
So
CCK strategies.
Is the ultimate. That's right. Yeah, it's the gold star because you do have to have a CPA firm who is the one doing the audit. And that allows that customer to tap into so many markets. And so I think that is something that customers need to think ahead, because whatever you're doing for cyber, if you're already behind, well, you're not even thinking of forward. We need to think of forward too, because there are some industries that they're going to get regulated. There's just no question. So if I can pick a generic framework for you that gets you ready for that time, my industry, by way of example, my industry is definitely some that's going to get, before I retire, I bet you there'll be regulation in our industry, because there hasn't been. I may have been doing this for 40 years, but 40 years is nothing when you think of like, how long have CPAs been around, right? That industry's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have to do exams, and there has to be assessments that you know what you're doing. So anyway, it is an exciting world. The last thing I'll throw into there is the insurance, right? Let's say you don't do the things, or you did them and a bad guy got you anyway, is your backstop. So we did expense, revenue, and now the backstop, which is getting cyber insurance. You're going to see that those cyber insurance applications are getting longer and longer and longer. And there's a reason. It's because they're getting so many claims.
Yes.
And they're going to rate you based on your cyber hygiene. When you answer no on some of those things, or I don't have this, or I'm not doing this, your policy just went up, 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 up. And if you ever have a claim, that application is going to go from 4 pages to 20 pages. If you can get a renewal.
Yes.
And your goal is to just try not to let it more than double or triple. I mean, it's been a big, big area, but everybody needs to have cyber insurance, even if you have a very basic policy, because sometimes even the best of our efforts are not enough. We had several people that we knew that got hit by North Korea last fall. And I mean, it was just not anything anybody could have done. I mean, all the right things were being done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for that too, like just thinking about small business owners, even a one-man shop should have cyber insurance and should still take measures for cybersecurity, right?
Can we go so far to say if you are in business and you have a computer, you should, have something?
Right. Absolutely. And, I hear a lot, I used to do a lot of Illinois CPA Society speaking. I hear a lot of people like, I'm too small. Like, no, you're the target. And it's not that they're looking at you specifically, but they're just out there scanning the internet, looking for weak spots, and they happen to find you. And there is no such thing as being too small, because if you have a business, you are generating revenue. If you're generating revenue, they want it.
So, Ron, I have a real important question for you that many of our listeners, longtime listeners, will understand. Working with the Illinois Society of CPAs, have you ever been to Effingham, Illinois?
No, I never went down to Effingham. I did do a lot of the northwest suburbs, though.
So he may not have been to the Effingham QT. That's one of our favorite spots.
But I think he's going to make it a destination.
Yeah, you need to start the Effingham QT.
So. Yeah.
So, Ron, let's start kind of wrapping up some of this stuff by, I'm really interested about this question, because I know you're going to give us just a real world answer and shoot us straight. What technologies are overhyped and what technologies are underappreciated? So if I'm a business owner and I'm hearing all this stuff, what, in your opinion, is overhyped and what is underappreciated?
Got it. The overhyped is easy. A lot of these solutions that tell you they can do everything, because what they're doing is they're skipping the whole human part, right? If somebody clicks the link, somebody does bad things, whatever, you kind of lost the day anyway. So any of those types of things. So like I'm seeing a lot of threat protection. I'm seeing a lot of vulnerability scanning. Some, they call it automated pen testing, which is phooey in my mind. It's not real. A lot of promises, great promises. A lot of the AI is also in that realm. There's a lot of hyped up promises. Hopefully we'll talk about that in a few months. But the product central, that's really where you got to stay away from. What do I need? Well, you need the basics, right? You need something that will make sure that when you log into your computer, it's actually you. Call that identity management. And that is often free. Like if you have Microsoft 365, it's free. It's included. You got to just turn it on. So that's like a critical one. You got to protect your computer. There's got to be some kind of MDR, managed detection and response. That's not antivirus. It's not EDR. That is the current generation. It's called MDR. And then you got to protect your email. Got to have filtering so that most of the garbage doesn't hit your inbox.
I love Barracuda.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You would be surprised at how many you actually were sent to you that you'd never saw.
Right.
You go look in your little quarantine and you say, oh, show me the blocked. And there's like 1,000 for today. It's crazy. Yes. So email protection, the last thing is training. Cybersecurity training, little videos every week or month. Automated phishing where we try to fool you. Like those 4 basics are really critical on the cyber side. Now, just from a business side, I'm going to add one more, which is backups. Don't assume...
What are backups? Is that a new thing into the industry, Ron?
I know. Yeah, it's this brand new fangled thing where we keep a copy of our data. But here's the thing with backups. Everybody assumes, let's say, that Microsoft is backing up their data. They're not. They're not. It's in their terms of service. They don't do backups. They do fault tolerance. They do resilience, whatever. But they don't do backups. So you just got to make sure that you're backing up your email, backing up your files somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like you don't do a backup on your own computer. You guys remember the days where you'd have a USB hard drive and you'd plug it into your computer?
Well, I was even going to go. I
did that the other day.
When you had to do multiple floppy disks.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's full. Change it out. This one's full.
Change them. Boom, boom,
yes.
boom. Right. Like that doesn't provide enough of a separation. Right. I want to keep my backups in 2 totally different, my production and then my backup somewhere else. But those are the fundamentals. And it's really kind of like if you're a one-man shop, like start there and we can obviously get better. Yeah. But if you don't have that, you're just like sitting in the breeze waiting to get hit.
So Ron, I've got one other question for you about this. So as a business owner, what should we be preparing for in the next 3 to 5 years? What's on the horizon is part 1 of my question. And part 2 is, will we ever get to the point where the IT guy does not say, have you rebooted or unplugged your computer before you call me?
So what's on the horizon is, like I said, more regulation, private data. So PII, personally identifiable information, is really going to be the next huge wave where it's crazy the way the laws work with PII. So in most places, if you're in Oklahoma and you're doing business with people in Oklahoma, you're like, I got to follow Oklahoma law, right? That seems logical. Well, no. If one of your clients moves to California, all right,
California.
Their address is California now, you now have to comply with CCPA, California Consumer Protection Act, even though you didn't know it. State of California never knocked on your door and said, hey, you need to comply. But you do. That's the big next kind of wave is data privacy. Most people have no idea where they have PII. They have no idea of how to protect it. And they don't know that they are potentially liable for some big fines if it ever gets out. The European Union started this with the GDPR, and it's a very robust privacy law. And that's kind of that's where we're going to see it. There's something like 26 states right now that have laws, and they're all different in the US. Thank
Imagine
you,
that.
US. Crazy, right? So we have to navigate that as business owners, that we have this risk out there. It's around consumer data, by the way. Business to business data is different. I've been using computers literally since the dawn of PCs, and this problem has been the same. And, the other annoying thing about our industry is they all seem like we always have to do a better version whatever, the interface or whatever, and it slows things down. Why can't I just have faster? Instead of like a new pretty thing? Like, I just want faster. And anyway, that's my pet peeve about our industry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Ron, moving towards, again, wrapping up here, if I'm a business owner and I've been listening and just my head's going crazy because we're probably not doing things that we should be, give our listeners kind of some practical steps. What would be an immediate quick win for them if they're really not paying much attention to this? What would be kind of a medium effort thing? And then what would more or less qualify as like a long-term strategy?
The first thing I would do is get connected with a quality MSSP, non-MSP, and just have hopefully a free conversation with them to just kind of assess where they're at. We do this thing called a cybersecurity pyramid. It's something I've developed over the last 5 years where I just go in and I color code. I believe them. If they say they have this, I say, okay, green. And that leaves the red with all the things they don't have. It's a less than an hour conversation. Any MSSP should do some kind of free assessment to give you an idea where you're at. The better, if you can, is to budget for an actual assessment. Like, have a one-time project with somebody. You don't have to make any long-term commitments, but just have them do an assessment of your business, your practices, your cybersecurity stance. And this doesn't even matter if you already have an MSP, you got an IT guy. This is an independent assessment of where you are, because then that'll give you a gap list, which you can then start to do a roadmap. And maybe you engage with that company, maybe you engage with somebody else, or you hand it to your guy. Whatever. Not having the visibility is the problem. You just don't know. And an assessment, again, based on a framework, ideally, is the best way to go to get that visibility. And long term, you got a budget for cybersecurity. Whatever you're budgeting now, need to have a realistic view of what that is, because you can't skip it. That risk ratio, it's not in your favor. So just plan on your next budget cycle, whatever it is, it should be more. Hate to say it.
Well, for the risk assessment, just to give our listeners kind of an idea of a price range, what's a normal price range for a risk assessment?
So usually it's somewhere in the $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the size of the organization and the complexity. The little companies, the little business owners, just try to get one of the low cost ones. But most companies, $5,000 to $10,000 is about right.
And in that risk assessment, does it normally give, like, especially where the gaps are, would it give kind of like a budget range on how much each would cost to get you to the green on the pyramid?
Absolutely. Any quality provider should do that for you.
Good.
So, Ron, how can people get in touch with you? So,
best thing is through my new email at ron@fortetechnologies.com. But my old one still works at ron@businesscybersecurity.com. Yes, that's the world's worst domain name because it's so freaking long, but it is businesscybersecurity.com. Either of them should work just fine. And I'd love to have a chat. We do the cyber pyramid assessments for free. And it's kind of part of my giving back to the world. That is a simple tool. It's easy to understand. And it's something we can put together pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what Sarah said earlier in the podcast, that we partner with you all, and we get the practical help that we need, but we also get the strategy that we're looking for going forward as well. So we could very much highly recommend Ron and what he does and what his teammates do. So, and again, Ron, you did not disappoint from a information perspective or anything like that. But in the business world, people like to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And so that's why we try to bring out some of the personality of our guests. And so if it's okay with you, one thing we want to talk about this a little bit. One thing's really cool. You are, as we speak, in San Diego, California, because you are going to the Boston Marathon of Comic Cons today.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on there. It's your wife. She's an author. Is that right?
Yes. My wife is an author. She's got a couple of books out and she's got a new anthology that she's part of. And so she'll be doing book signing at Comic-Con. It is our first trip to Comic-Con. And she's super excited. And I'm super excited and proud of her. But yeah, so it's going to be really exciting. It is so busy here. Oh my God. This is definitely the Boston Marathon of Comic-Con. I think 180,000 people is what I was told coming in. And so yeah, I'm very excited and proud of her.
That's an introvert's nightmare.
That is. Absolutely.
It is. Yeah, she's an introvert. So I'm kind of the escort. Like, no, let's go there. Yes, you talk to the people. Yes, you need to talk to the people.
So I did a little bit of real quick research. So it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of the highlighted guests at this Comic-Con are John Cena, Green Day.
Oh, nice.
And Tim Robbins. Now, there may be many that go, who's Tim Robbins? Well, Tim Robbins was Nuke LaLoosh on Bull Durham, but most recently, he's a character in Silo. He's in Silo. Yeah. So, and I think he was also married to, there you go. So, yeah.
Was that Shawshank Redemption, Tim Robbins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, is there someone that you're trying to have a chance encounter with at this Comic-Con? Besides, you know, obviously the adoration of your wife, but, you know, in her celebrity status, but is there someone you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, actually, it's again small world. So her mentor is Maxwell Alexander Drake, aka Drake. He's the one who put together the anthology, and he's got apparently like a gazillion epic fantasy and epic sci-fi books out there. Like, he's a really well-known author. He's been to every Comic-Con. He's going to be a speaker. So I'm really looking forward to meeting him because my wife spends 3 or 4 hours a week with him doing classes and learning.
Cool. That's awesome.
But yeah, as far as the big stars, oh my gosh, we were looking through the book last night. There are 100. So if we can get with any of the Star Trek crowd, that would be awesome.
Star Trek.
Fun.
Yes. It's like the 60th, I think, is the celebration. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
I got to ask this question, Ron. Are you dressing up?
No. We thought about it, but I don't have any particular style stuff except my Viking costume and my kilt.
Okay.
Where I used to run races in.
That's good.
Back in the day. It's kind of funny watching some guy flying by on the bike in a triathlon in a kilt.
Yeah.
I got some great pictures.
I was going to say, we need some pictures of that.
Yeah. I know we can find them online. Thank you.
It's awesome.
So we do a reoccurring segment at the end of every show, Ron, called Would You Rather? So we're doing it special Comic-Con version with you right now. So go ahead, Sarah.
All right. Would you rather wait 8 hours in line for a panel featuring your favorite celebrity, or wait 8 hours in line for an exclusive collectible that will be worth absolutely nothing in 5 years?
You know what? I think it'd be the celebrity.
Nice.
Same. To meet the people. Yeah.
Yes, same. All right. Well, I'm going to skip over this next question because it is about cosplay and wearing cosplay. So we already know you're not doing that. So we'll skip that question. All right. Would you rather have Spider-Man's powers, but only while standing in Comic-Con lines, or Iron Man's suit, but only for carrying all of your merchandise back to the hotel?
Iron Man suit.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Would you rather get lost in the San Diego Convention Center every day, or, I love this, accidentally photobomb 100 cosplays photos and become a Comic-Con meme?
Oh, I would totally be the meme.
Yes. Love it. Right. Would you rather have dinner with your favorite superhero actor, but only talk about taxes, or have dinner with your favorite CPA, but only talk about Marvel movies?
Oh, CPA for sure.
Yes. And I love that. And then finally, would you rather explain Comic-Con to your grandmother or explain cybersecurity to Deadpool?
Oh, cybersecurity to Deadpool. We met him yesterday on the street. It was hilarious. There's a Deadpool actor in this little tiny car and a Wolverine. And they like stop in the middle of an intersection and get out. It was so fun.
Oh
like
my gosh, that is so
middle
cool.
of downtown.
All right. While you're there, we have got to see, you've got to send us some pictures.
I will.
Have
Absolutely.
got to send us some. Yes.
So Ron, you actually are a doubly super special guest today because I have surprised my teammates here with a new segment that I wanted to try out today. And we're going to try it out on you if that's okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're working on a name. We're working on a name. So it's either the name of this segment's either going to be Identity Crisis or Same Name, Different Fame or The Other Me. So I was trying to do a little bit of research on you, Ron, before we went to recording. And you are not the first Ron Searle that pops up on Google.
Right.
Do you know who the others are?
I know one of them is the cartoonist.
Yes.
That was the one that my grandparents gave me so many of the books for this guy. I'm like, it's not even me.
Love it.
But he's famous.
Is that the only one you're aware of?
That's the only one I can think of.
Okay. Well, there's another one that was an English-born Canadian soldier, publisher, and politician who served as the fourth mayor of some town in Ontario from 1976 to 1978. So just in case you wanted to know. So then to have some fun, I thought I would expand and do it on us here in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So KP, there is a Christy Porter, but she spells it Kristee. She is an American volleyball coach.
Oh.
Now, talk about small world. Do you know where she was a coach or is a coach?
In Arizona?
No. North Texas, where my son graduated.
UNT.
Yeah,
nice.
UNT.
Really cool.
There's another Christy Porter. She spells it Kristi, who writes knitting books.
Nice.
Seriously, knitting patterns for dummies.
Awesome.
And she also, I don't know if it's the same one, but she also wrote Stranger Danger, how to talk to kids about strangers.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, that's a good.
That's very cool.
Now, on me, if you do Google me, most of it's me. There is a headline out there that Jeff Refrable was arrested for violating restraining order in courthouse back in August of 2021 in Nantucket. That's not me.
Yeah.
There also is a bowler.
Wasn't yours on Martha's Vineyard?
Yes, yeah. There's also a gentleman named Jeffrey Frable in the Northeast that does a lot of bowling because when I Google my name, his scores pop up. But then there's not much else. There's no famous Jeffrey Frables, but I do get some traction of others. Sarah Mays, I will tell you this. There are no other Sarah Mayses out there. You are one of a kind.
I know. There is a Sarah May, I believe, out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no Mays. So we'll have to see what pops up in future episodes on our future guests. But Ron, thank you for participating as our guinea pig there. And thank you again for giving us real information without all the jargon that's in your industry. And I think we're done if we've got everybody taken care of.
We got it.
We do appreciate you listening. If you would like to contact us in any way, shape, or form to talk about anything that we've had on the podcast or suggestions, heck, just tell us hi. You can email us at podcast@cckcpa.com. That's podcast@cckcpa.com. Special thanks, as always, to CCK Strategies for the opportunity to utilize this platform and do something different in the industry. KP, always thank you for protecting the brand and keeping us on the straight and narrow. Robert Hayes for the intro, outro music. Clarence Fitt.
Robert Hayes.
I'm sorry, Robert Mays.
Did you Google me right?
Whoa, Ron, did you see him jump on me there? I just make one mistake. Robert Mays, thank you for the intro and outro. Clarence Fisher with Tulsa Internet Marketing Services for always helping us through the editing process. And Emily Johansson, the world's greatest executive assistant, for all the work she does to get us across the finish line. Again, thank you for joining us this week. And we look forward to the next time when these two CPAs get together to have a chat and you get to find out who's on the mic.
The information provided on this podcast is for general informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute accounting, tax, legal, or financial advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations change and individual circumstances vary. Always consult with a qualified CPA or professional advisor before making any financial or business decisions. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any organizations they are affiliated with. Listening to this podcast does not create a client-accountant relationship. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to those terms.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Two CPAs in the Mic. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Have questions or ideas for a topic? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@cckcpa.com.